Welcome back to the Rally. Listen, it's the offseason for all the teams you see here on your screen, and that's a list of the teams with the most cap space this offseason. A lot of losing teams up there, but three teams that really stand out, the Lions, Texans, and Bengals, they have a ton of cap flexibility. So let's take a look at the Lions. After much speculation on if offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, if he was going to leave here, he is staying in Detroit, so this is big for the Lions, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the more coveted coordinators in the NFL. The architect of an offense, I think, moved the ball with ease, showed the ability to get it started up front, running the football. They obviously learned how to get the most out of Jared Goff this year. In a wide receiver room, quite frankly, that a lot of people would look at on paper and be like, yeah, maybe some toolsy guys, but like, is there a guy in here?
Big time.
But he turned some dudes into some dudes. Now, I know you do have a little bit of a criticism there about the way some of the game was managed in the playoffs, but ultimately, really good coordinator.
Yeah, I think he's really good. And the one thing for me was I thought that he deserved another opportunity to show how good he is, right? Because in 2 seasons ago, he kind of was the coordinator. He wasn't calling. And then this last year, he really showed he's really good. Obviously, the blunder at the end of the game, running the ball instead of passing the ball, so it'll be an incomplete pass, clock stop. You had to use one of your timeouts. I thought he needed another entire full season that he can show that he is the coordinator that we all think he is. And I think that they can add some real pieces because a year ago, a lot of free agents didn't really want to come live in Detroit. You don't know how good they're going to be. They had potential, but do I really want to live in Detroit and be cold? Well, now they know that they are a real winner and a real contender. So I think that they'll get some real free agents that are real game changers for the team.
Okay, so you said just they need to get free agents. They need to make some roster moves there. So what's the priority for them? What type of free agents do they need?
I think they need to keep Gardner Johnson, and I like Von Miller. I don't know about his availability. They need to find a way to get him because I think that his experience in the playoffs, remember we talked about a lot of why the Lions couldn't finish, they hadn't had the experience. Well, Von Miller is a guy who has great experience. He can go finish those games in the playoffs. So I would love to see them get Von Miller and retain C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I'm looking at the defensive front, and we just saw Aiden Hutchinson there on that video going through some pass rush drills. I think he needs a running mate. I think some of the best constructed defenses right now in the NFL have 2 guys that can instill fear into offenses, and that'll help free up Hutch there. The other thing I look at as well, I didn't think the defense was great this year. Like, it was definitely the weak point of the team, and at times, I mean, teams are able to throw the football on them pretty easily. I think they need to look at adding to the cornerback room. I know you said keep Gardner Johnson in there. Like, I feel like you need a bona fide cornerback one in that room to really elevate the defense.
Yeah, and Brian Branch, he was a huge get for them, a rookie that really stood out this season to help in that secondary. So, yeah, I felt like they took a step forward in that area, but there's definitely room to improve just to kind of take them to the next level next season. But a team that really improved, how about the Texans? We didn't think that they were going to perform as well as they did this season. They are 4th. They have the 4th most cap space here. They have an elite quarterback under a rookie deal here. So how can they add to this roster, JP? Well,
I think they need to go after an elite wide receiver, whether that's in the draft or through free agency. They got to get a dude in there because C.J. Stroud, I feel like, turned just a couple of guys into some real players there. I think they would be helped out a ton if they had a true wide receiver one. I also look at the quarterback. You mentioned how good he is, and I think we all believe he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league at some point. He got sacked the 8th most times this year.
Not good.
Take a look at that offensive line as well and see if we can't keep this guy a little bit more upright for next season.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think the Texans are the Lions of last year, except they're in Texas. Yeah. People are fine with living in Texas, right? And also, last year for the Lions, when the free agent time came, they were like, oh, maybe the Lions might be good, but they might not be, right? They had some nice plays at the end of the season. They beat the Packers, but they didn't make the playoffs. So we don't know who they're truly going to be. The Texans made the playoffs and won a playoff game. I think that they're going to be a much more attractive version of the Lions coming up this next offseason. And a lot of people don't believe in Jared Goff. Still, to this day, everybody believes that C.J. Stroud is a bona fide future All-Pro and possible Super Bowl winning quarterback.
How about Mike Evans? We know he's going to be a free agent, an elite wide receiver, be a nice compliment to Nico Collins there. 100%. What do you think?
I mean, he got a big dude who can stretch the field. I think he at times drop some passes where I'm like, dog, you got to reel that in. But body of work is certainly there. I mean, we were talking about him as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL at one point. Like, get a veteran dude in there. I think that certainly helps that room.
Josh, the drops, though, when you looked at him, did he seem like he's tired of being there?
A little bit.
Did it look like it just felt like, man, we're not going anywhere? Obviously, we're going to win some games here or there, but it just feels like he wasn't as motivated as he had been.
We're not a true contender.
Exactly. We're not a true contender, and so you lose focus, you drop some balls. I think he's still the guy we thought he was, and a new scenery could kind of bring back the Mike Evans of old.
All right, well, another place that we could see Mike Evans, maybe in Cincinnati. They have the 6th most cap space there, so how should they spend this money?
I mean, T. Higgins, right? Like, I feel like you got to try to figure that situation out. I know they're like, we got some young wide receivers. We're going to be up against it when it comes time to pay off these guys. You want to make sure that you can prioritize who you need to prioritize. Try to keep the band together.
You have to, right? Because as much as I respect and love what Joe Burrow is capable of, we've never seen him without 2 number ones. At LSU, 2 number ones, and 2 all-pros in the NFL. And then here with the Bengals, he's got 2 number 1 receivers. I don't know who he is outside of that.
I would make an argument that at LSU he had 3 number 1s because the tight end position was
You're exactly right.
So
You're exactly right.
Let's keep it real. But to your point, I think the best organizations in the NFL have found ways to support their quarterback with the type of skill that they need if they're actually interested in winning a championship. And we've seen the Bengals get really close.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you try to make a little run at it?
Yeah, that should be a top priority there. So all of those teams that we mentioned, they have over $60 million in cap space. So we'll see if they choose to use it wisely.